Again with a state rep now under investigation for what she said on Facebook Live.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you.
That video posted last night by Detroit State Representative Cynthia Johnson, who has also faced threats herself, has quickly gone viral.
And because of that, legislative leadership removed her from her committee assignments this afternoon. They've also launched an investigation into her words that some believe incite violence. Rod Maloney spoke with Johnson today. He joins us now live. And Rod, that video has just caught fire today.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone viral, Devin, and it's a situation where after I spoke to her today, the representative said she in no way was inciting violence of any kind, but a lot of people who looked at that video, particularly the sections about Trumpers, they don't believe that's the case at all. But this goes back a couple of weeks now to when Rudy Giuliani came to Lansing and visited the committee that she sat on. She was very angry about that situation, and that brought her own brand of racist threats against her.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you.
I'll prove once and for all that it's mine, okay? My second favorite book of all time. What's my first favorite book? The Bible.
Representative Johnson's post last night came in response to racist phone messages she received after the Giuliani hearings aired on CNN Monday.
You're done. You're so done. You should be swinging from a rope, you Democrats.
Representative Johnson last night looked to push back.
Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay.
Was it a cop car? Or?
I don't know if it was a cop car or not.
I heard it was a cop car, but
Definitely a cop car.
Be in order. Make them pay.
Yet those words caught the ear of Michigan Republican Party Chair Laura Cox, who said in a statement, quote, "It is reprehensible that an elected official would call on her soldiers to make..."
Urging police to use force from across the fence. But their plans at the track abruptly ended early, right before the race.
And one of our concerns was we will not allow the NFAC to be sandwiched between protesters and the police.
When reports he's facing federal charges, accused of pointing an assault weapon at police back in September.
Soldiers to make the supporters of an opposing party pay, and clearly such a statement could incite people to violence. It was distressing to know that Representative Johnson received threats after last week's hearing. However, by issuing threats of violence of her own against the supporters of President Trump, she has sunk to the same level as the unhinged individuals who threatened her.
Okay. It is absolutely disgusting.
Today, the representative couldn't believe her ears after learning of that statement.
Do you believe that you were inciting any kind of violence?
I was not inciting any. No, I was not.
Not convinced, Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey and House Speaker Lee Chatfield put out a statement too, quote, "Threats to either Democrats or Republicans are unacceptable and un-American. They're even more unbecoming of an elected official," end quote. To clarify, Johnson told Local 4,
"My soldiers, soldiers for Christ, soldiers against racism, soldiers against domestic violence, soldiers against domestic terrorism."
It's at the end, what the fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.
Why? Why do they always have to look like the worst supervillain imaginable? Do they have to make it? That man that you just saw talking about transhumanism being an integral part to the Great Reset is, of course, Klaus Schwab, the head guy behind the World Economic Forum, or as some people are calling him now, the supreme globalist goblin overlord. I didn't say it. Some people are saying it.
President Donald Trump has accused the Bidens of being involved in corrupt dealings with China, asking Ukraine's president to investigate Joe and Hunter Biden during a July 25th phone call. President Trump is the subject of an impeachment inquiry over that call. Joe Biden commented on his son's decision to step down, saying in a press conference Sunday that he did not consult with him about it and says it represents his son's integrity.
No one has asserted my son did a single thing wrong. No one has asserted that I have done anything wrong except a lying president. That's the only thing.
That in recent months, the investigation.
Senior Justice Correspondent Evan Perez, he's working the story for us, along with our political correspondent Arlette Saenz. Evan, I know you're reporting extensively on what's going on. What are you learning, first of all, about this investigation?
Well, Wolf, this is an investigation that goes back to 2018, and we understand that in recent months, the investigation took a pause, in part because of the Justice Department rules governing politically sensitive investigations. There's an effort to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the election. And so with the election now over, with Biden now elected president, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware informed the agents who've been working on this case that they were free to take more active steps. And that is what has happened in the last couple of days. Hunter Biden has issued a statement that says, in part, I learned yesterday for the first time that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware advised my legal counsel also yesterday that they're investigating my tax affairs. I take this matter very seriously, but I am confident that a professional and objective review of these matters will demonstrate that I handled my affairs legally and appropriately, including with the benefit of professional tax advisors. Wolf, my understanding, our understanding from doing this reporting over the last couple of weeks, myself and Pamela Brown, is that the investigators who are from the IRS, Criminal Investigation Agency, as well as the FBI, and the prosecutors in Delaware have been looking at a number of things, including Hunter Biden's business activities, principally in China, and whether or not those activities violated tax and money laundering laws. And among the things they're looking at is whether or not income was reported or underreported correctly over the last, over a number of years, Wolf.
I understand you're also learning that the federal investigators are specifically interested, Evan, in a gift of a diamond that was given supposedly to Hunter Biden in China. Tell us about that.
That's right, Wolf. There is a very curious episode that happened in 2017. Hunter Biden described some of this in a New Yorker profile that was published last year. He said that at the end of a meeting with this businessman, Ye Jianming, who he was trying to get into business with, at the end of that meeting, he goes up to his hotel room and he receives a 2.8 carat diamond. Now, it's not clear what happened to the diamond. According to the account that Hunter Biden provided to the New Yorker, he says he gave it to some associates and he doesn't know.
Huge developments in the growing Hunter Biden scandal, and his father has some major explaining to do. The president-elect's son under federal investigation, and it involves a lot more than just his tax affairs, like Hunter claimed yesterday. Sources telling Fox News the probe started in 2018, and investigators are looking into suspicious money from foreign countries, including China. Pressure now building on Joe Biden to speak out publicly after repeatedly claiming that he and his son Hunter did nothing wrong.
No one has indicated of any consequence that anything was done wrong or illegally by me or by my son. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it. There's absolutely zero basis to the accusation that I acted anyway inappropriately or that my son did. You know, there's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit This everything done was wrong.
Accept the election result and get back to business.
When it comes to the election, Republicans, congressional Republicans, don't have the evidence. They don't have the proof. They don't have anything. Neither does the president.
Who was investigating Hunter and Burisma. He got fired. 6 hours later, son of a bee, they did it. So now the call for this investigation into the corrupt Biden Business Bureau, well, it's way past time for real accountability. It is time for real answers about just how much Joe Biden was willing to sell access to the vice presidency, and his son and his family cashed in big time. Here with more, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan and Congressman Ken Buck. Ken, let's talk about what you're fighting for and asking for here.
Absolutely, Sean. What I'm asking for is the Attorney General of the United States to appoint a special counsel to look into the very facts that you just pointed out. There is a serious pattern of corruption that Hunter Biden has engaged in with Joe Biden's knowledge. It was just 2 days after a Burisma board member met with Joe Biden that Hunter Biden goes on the board of Burisma and gets $83,000 a month in payments. It's just 12 days after Hunter Biden is on a plane with his dad, Air Force Two, going to China, that all of a sudden this investment company is created. There is this pattern of behavior. If the Vice President of the United States is willing to do it, there's no reason to believe that the President of the United States won't do the same thing.
All right, Jim Jordan, you know, I'm going to tell you how people feel, and when I talk to people, what they're telling me, is there anything we reported on the Trump-Russia 2016 collusion hoax that was wrong? Anything about the dirty dossier that we reported that was wrong? Anything about premeditated fraud on the FISA court that was wrong? Any of that wrong?
No, only thing we were wrong about, Sean, it was worse than we thought. And the way you framed it up is exactly why Ken's call for a special counsel is needed. For 4 years, the Democrats said President Trump colluded with Russia. We know that wasn't true. They went after his family, deposed Don Jr. for over 30 hours. Turns out that whole time, it was actually the Biden family who was enriching themselves with foreign deals. And oh, what did we learn today? Today we learned the very people, Sean, the very people, though, who accused him of that over 4 years, we learned today we're cozying up with the Chinese spy, for goodness sake. So, of course, we need what Ken called for to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, I agree with what Ken called for. You were there. Durham's been out there. After the Horowitz report corroborated everything you had said and I had said and our ensemble cast here had said, where's Durham? Where are the indictments? Why didn't anything happen? Is anything going to happen?
Sean, I don't know, and it is as frustrating for me and you, but more importantly for the whole country. Let's hope so. Again, last week the Attorney General told us he's now given the designation of special counsel to Mr. Durham. Let's hope he does the same thing for what Ken is calling for in the Hunter Biden issue. But we'll have to wait and see. I remind people all the time, all we can do is draw attention to the facts, and you've done that for 4 years. We've done that. Ken's done that. But at some point, it's the Justice Department who actually has to do the investigations, and if indictments are warranted, they have to proceed in that manner.
Ken, are you getting any indication? Because you're right on the facts, on the merits, and we all know, all three of us know, that if the last name was Trump, we'd have a very different reaction in the media, different reaction from Democrats, different reaction from big tech companies. They wouldn't be censoring it. But that's, I guess, is what the corrupt world we just have to accept now exists.
Game, China uses many tools, diplomatic, military, economic. We've discussed them in detail on the show. Tonight, let's talk about another tool, propaganda, the control over narrative. The rise of China has been guided by a narrative of grievance towards the world for what it calls a century of humiliation by external forces. Well, now China wants to set the narrative, buy good press, both at home and abroad. Yesterday, we showed you how China's propaganda machine works domestically. Tonight, we'll take you inside China's global propaganda campaign, how it suppresses the truth and spreads lies across the world. China's media interference is now global, just like its virus, spread all over the globe. Beijing is training foreign journalists. It is ramping up international broadcasting. It is undertaking extensive advertising campaigns, even buying media outlets. China has infiltrated the global media to silence critics. It is investing billions to increase its global media influence. According to one report, the Chinese regime invests as much as $1.3 billion, $1.3 billion every year to increase its reach of the state media. A good amount of this money is spent on promoting state media and foreign news outlets. The U.S. Justice Department has released some figures. According to their report, China Daily, which is a mouthpiece of the Chinese regime, has paid American newspapers $19 million for advertising and printing in the last 4 years alone. 19 million. I want to mention a few names of its high-profile customers. The Wall Street Journal, one of the largest newspapers in the US by circulation. The Wall Street Journal sends 2.8 million copies annually, digital and print combined. Do you know how much it earned through Chinese advertisements? $6 million since December 2016. It has international editions in Mandarin. The Washington Post, a newspaper that has won 69 Pulitzer Prizes, 18 Nieman Fellowships, 368 awards from the White House. Do you know how much this daily newspaper has earned carrying Chinese ads? $4.6 million. The list keeps getting more illustrious. The New York Times is on this list. 130 Pulitzer Prizes, the world's 18th most circulated newspaper. It has earned $50,000 in paid news between 2016 and 2020, and the list does not end there. The Los Angeles Times, the Seattle Times, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Chicago Tribune, the Houston Chronicle, the Boston Globe, all these major news outlets in the United States of America have been listed as clients of China Daily. And I'm not saying this, China Daily is. It has mentioned these names in a list of detailed breakdown of payments to American news outlets.
At what point do you draw the line and not accuse the President of the United States without any evidence of being an agent of Russia?
Yeah, he's betrayed our country, and I don't say that lightly. I worked as a prosecutor for 7 years, and
Betraying the country, by the way, we want evidence before you say that, but you said an agent of Russia.
Yeah, he works on their behalf.
Oh, the irony. And adding insult to injury, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is, of course, defending her fellow Democrat. Pelosi says she has full confidence in Swalwell and will not remove him from the House Intelligence.
Stephanie, Eric Swalwell is a hypocrite and he's a fraud, as is Nancy Pelosi. You know, Intelligence Committee members get information that we don't get as general members of Congress. For him to, one, be a leading critic of the president, continually bringing up Russia, defending China, he knows what he was doing when he had the Chinese lady help him win re-election, help him run initially, help him raise money. And for him not to voluntarily get off the committee is a shame, and it's a danger to America. And for Ms. Pelosi to defend him, again, they're both frauds, and they both ought to pay a price for this with how they're. It should not happen, and they ought to be held accountable for it. But it's just like, you know, all of Ms. Pelosi's other statements and her actions. There is a disconnect that she has with the American people. And Eric Swalwell ought to, again, if he had any decency, he would resign and he would let somebody else take his place. This committee is not just an ordinary committee taking up ordinary things. It's the national defense of our country, and he has things that we don't know as general members of Congress. And to flippantly say his response to date is really is sad in one way, but it's intolerable.
Yeah, and you look back at all these examples of him defending China, him kind of like promoting the China first policies, if you will, not America first, China first. And then he was one of the first critics of President Trump when President Trump was calling it the China virus and the travel ban from China to help stop the spread of coronavirus. he was like suggesting that the virus doesn't have a country and whatnot. But obviously the virus has an origin, and that would be China. That's where it came from.
Exactly. And Stephanie, he was a presidential candidate. I mean, he was running for the highest office in the land. And for him to do what he did, for him to continue to defend China, look what China has cost this country with the pandemic that is a direct result of China's inaction to defend not only their country, but to let this out to the rest of the world. And for Swalwell to be as to not be continually upset about this in addressing the public, he ought to be holding a news conference now saying what he's going to do. And if he's going to continue to be blatantly defiant with it, then tell the American people that.